Good morning, everybody. If I can get your attention, I want to thank everybody for being here and in order to support us today. I am Gawie van der Merwe, the Director of the Cultural Diversity Board, and I want to welcome all of you, and I once again want to thank everybody that's here today. So what's happening today is it's going to be, it's during the Mavs week, and for the Cultural Diversity Board, it's their Performances Day. And also we are collabing with ASG with debates. And so I just wanted to give a brief introduction. What's going on with the Cultural Diversity Board today is we consist out of 6 different alliances, which we will start off with the first performance of GSA, the Gay Straight Student Alliance, and yeah, the introduction will be left over for Selina Nayar in order to introduce. She's the current president for ASG, and to introduce the candidates as well as the debates.
Sorry, I'm really short. Hi, everyone. My name is Connie. I am the Director of Communications for the Cultural Diversity Board, and I'd like to introduce our first performance from one of our alliances, the Gay Straight Student Alliance. Her name is Ashley Alderman, who is a slam poet, and she'll be sharing some awesome words with you guys. Please welcome Ashley Adler.
This piece is called A Letter to the Straights. Dear straight people, you and I are not the same. Dear straight people, why are you so obsessed with how I'm going to procreate? Because last time I checked, the world is overpopulated as it is, and me not having spawn just leaves you more room to keep having all those kids you say you're gonna love until the day they don't want to be just like you. Dear straight men, if I'm flirting with you, it's due to one of 3 reasons. 1, I think it's hilarious that you have absolutely zero gaydar. 2, I'm using you to get better acquainted with your sister, cousin, female best friend, and in some extreme cases, girlfriend. And 3, I'm an admitted food digger, and I think you'll provide me with a free meal. Also, if you can't, honest to God, figure out how lesbian sex works, I feel bad for every single woman whom you have ever invited into your bedroom. Ever. Dear straight women, leave me alone. Just because you had a short haircut in elementary school doesn't mean you get it. It doesn't mean that you understand. Just like a boulder will never know how it feels to be a breeze, a tree can never be a river, and the door will never know the pain of being a mat. You puzzle me. Stop thinking that becoming a lesbian is the answer to your boyfriend just being a jerk. So, no, I won't be your experiment. No, you can't come over to my room late at night and cry on my shoulder. And no, I don't want to make out with you at a party. Well, I do, but then you'd catch feelings, I'd get into a fist fight with your boyfriend, and then it's just freshman year all over again. Dear straight people, you made me afraid to be myself. Dear masculinity, why do you need to be validated by me? No, by women in general. No, at all. Why are you so fragile? Why is the term, I have a girlfriend, not enough of an excuse for you to just walk away? Why do you keep passing along this ideology that what a man has in his pants has enough power to fix me? Because I'm not broken, and I don't need to be fixed. Dear straight people, why can I not be angry? Why can this movement only be carried on the curve of closed lips? Dear seemingly straight girl, sitting in the back of high school English class, clinging to Shakespeare and poetry and other people's thoughts on romance just to imagine the thing that you don't feel when you kiss him. I hope you hear me, and I hope you stop changing the pronouns in your love poems, and I hope you find someone who's gonna treasure you, and that you both go deaf to the hate that you'll get, because you will get it. But you know that love is too beautiful a thing to keep locked in a closet. Dear straight people, it's taken me 18 years to be fully comfortable in who I am, in my sexuality, in my skin, in my clothes, and even in my hair. I used to joke and say there's not a naturally straight thing about me. Still true. Some people have said that with my hair all natural and crazy like this, I kinda look like a lion. So, dear straight people, educate yourselves. And educate the children you will inevitably have. Because you never know. Someday they might just join my pride. Thank you.
All right, awesome job. That was very inspirational. Sorry. Excuse me as I try to, I'll just leave it here. Thank you. Oh, you push it in. Okay. So up next, we do have our vice presidential candidates up here for debate. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you guys, if you guys could come up here first, I guess. Please give it up for vice president candidates Ben Lindsay, Ethan Kishi, and Jake Carmen.
All right, gentlemen, welcome to the debate. So basically, I'm going to start down this way that we have it already. The first question that we have for you, what would your biggest goal during your term serving as the ASG vice president, and how would you plan to achieve it?
So, start on this side?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Alrighty. Hey guys, my name's Ben Lindsay. I'm running with Josh Dillinger. Woo! Alrighty. Okay, so goals as vice president. I think the biggest one is simply to show the students of CMU that ASG is a resource for them in order for them to achieve their dreams. And so the way that we can do that, and the way that we will do that, is that we will be all over campus. I mean, we've already shown that we have the ability to get our word out there, get our name out there, and we have the connections in order to connect these people with the right individuals in order for them to find the right task for them and the right goals for them. So I think the biggest thing is just show that ASG is more than just a group that allocates fees to clubs, but they can be more than that, and they can do other things as well.
Hi, my name is Ethan Kishi. I'm running for vice president. I'm the current president of the Entrepreneurship Club here on campus. And our goal, and my goal for vice president for next year, is to bring our campus together and have the students have a voice. We want to be the voice. We want to be the Maverick voice for our students. And having an open line of communication with every student of every discipline is very important. And I think that that's going to be our next goal, to further the progress of CMU and expand from where we are now and to grow and just to become a better school. So I think having the students being able to give feedback to what we're doing and have a voice in what goes on campus is an important thing. And that's going to be my main goal as vice president next year. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Jake Carmen. I'm the current student trustee, and I'm running with Casey Benish. My goal for Colorado Mesa University is to make this school really be recognized for the greatness that it has. I think that secretly this school is one of the greatest in Colorado, and I think in the next 5 to 10 years it's going to become something that we aren't going to recognize when we come back. For me, that means that we need to support academic programs. We need to give support to clubs and organizations that further our students and that give them the experience that will make us formidable competitors in the job market. And that is my goal as vice president next year.
Okay, this next question is for Kishi. How would you rate the current degree of safety for students on campus, and what suggestions do you have for increasing safety in the future?
I personally feel that students are safe on campus. They feel safe. We have well lit up areas going to and from our academic halls, back to our dorms and to our parking lots. So I believe that our students are safe. The one improvement that I would have is to go off the blue light system, to improve on something like that, and to have some kind of way for a student, if they're in trouble, to get immediate attention 24/7. So, and just to be able to have that, and for students to feel safer, even though even if they don't right now, which I believe they do, they will feel even more safe having these visual cues around all around campus. Thank you.
This one's a little bit of a trick question because I'm a cross-country runner, and so I never don't feel safe on campus because I can always run away from everyone. I can tell you in the last 2 years that I've been in student government, the perception has been is that safety could be better. I know we've always gotten complaints of people who don't feel like they're safe walking from their dorms to class at night, or vice versa, excuse me. So the point being is we really need to get the word out that we have campus safety walk, that we have Mav rides. We need to not only advertise those, but make them easily accessible for students. And I think once we start doing that, even if we don't make the campus safer, we will make people perceive it as safer. And I think that is a 100% victory for us.
Alrighty, so I actually pretty much agree with both my fellow peers here. I think the most important thing is getting the word out on the safety aspects that we already have on campus, whether that be the blue lights, Mav rides, CSAs, the local PD department. I think advertising what we already have will just instill the feeling of safety within other students. And I also agree that we need to find a way to better implement those systems. So for example, blue lights, I think we can really expand on those or find another opportunity or another option for that system just so that students have a direct connection with law enforcement. For example, now you can text 911, so we can just get that out on the street, things along those lines, just other mediums for students to feel safe. Thank you.
All right, so this one's going to be for Carmen to start out with. Hypothetical question. You disagree with some of the president's agenda. How do you approach this, and how do you proceed?
I say, Casey, listen. No, in all honesty, this is something I actually have experience doing. I've never been afraid to walk into the president's office, and this has been both as my time as trustee and as Senate, in the Senate, excuse me. And so it starts off with walking in and saying, hey, I have an issue with your policy, and it's frank and it's to the point. And if that doesn't work, there are a lot of other methods to go. This is a democracy on campus. We do have senators who get to vote on policies that the president is trying to push through. We tried to push a resolution through this year that wasn't very popular, and it almost didn't pass, and that was because a student in the Senate decided he was going to lobby other senators to not get it passed, and that is the way democracy works. So if I'm not in agreement with the president and I can't talk her out of a policy stance, then there's plenty of other options to go with other elected officials on campus.
Alrighty, so I have lots of experience being second in charge, just being in a lot of different orgs, whether that's being an RA, ambassadors. I've always had someone above me giving me direction, as well as had leadership positions on campus. But I think the most important thing is to approach that individual and just show them your reasoning behind why you disagree. But then again, if it's what the people want, it's what the students want, I don't think that there's a need to disagree because you personally believe that that's not right. I think if the students want something done on campus, maybe you can give them your ideas and really add to those ideas. But then again, just not shutting anyone down, kind of trying to understand where they come from at first. Thanks.
So my solution to disagreeing with an action from the president would be to openly communicate my feelings about the bill and how others feel about the bill. It's not just about how I feel or how a trustee feels. It's about how everyone on our campus feels. And being a senator, listening to my constituents, I've heard a good voice from the people that I represent, and being able to express that in a good organic way to my president and let her know how I feel. I think that she'll come around, and if she doesn't, then we can take other actions like the previous candidate said about talking to senators and finding other ways and means of getting what you want done. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Let's give it one more round of applause for our vice presidential candidates. Now I would like to call the presidential candidates forward. Please welcome to the stage Mr. Joshua Dillinger, Shondalee Archer, and Casey Benish.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so we're going to start off with a question from the Cultural Diversity Board. So this year, we have the most diverse group of freshmen on campus, and we are growing in terms of ethnic diversity every year. What will you do as president as well as an organization to accommodate for this growth? And we'll start with Josh Dillinger and move our way that way.
First of all, I'd like to thank CDB for allowing us to pair with them on this event, and thank you for the Crite for moderating this event as well. I think diversity is a huge part of this institution, and we have seen an impressive growth of that throughout these last couple of years. As an ambassador here on campus, I take great pride in helping grow that number. Throughout our diversity and our efforts over in admissions, we have definitely seen some great growth within diversity. So I think that's something that's going to continue throughout these next few years as an institution, just because we are starting to build and be known for that. So I think throughout our efforts, Ben and I are really gearing towards going in and encouraging other organizations on campus to become involved and be true leaders. CDB's been doing great opportunities for that this year. I think if they partner with ASG and we become a resource for them, we can help them just host better events, bigger events, and partner on more things like this, because the turnout for this for ASG is larger because we're with CDB, and then vice versa as well. We're all here supporting CDB as well. So there's a lot of opportunity for us to grow and help each other become better as a whole. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Shonda Archer, and I am running with Ethan Kishi. So with our campaign, what we are about is bringing Mesa together and being a family. And to me, that doesn't matter whether you are of different ethnicity or anything like that. We are a family. You are a maverick, and that's what it means to be here at Colorado Mesa University. So with that being said, I want to push that to students more than anything else. I want to push that we are a family. We will take care of each other, and we work together to achieve greater things. And I think that it is amazing that we are growing as a college. And once we have grown to where we really want to be, where Foster sees us, I hope that through our campaign and through the other people running against me's campaign that we can bring Mesa together as one. And that's all I have to say.
So my name is Casey Benish. I'm running with Jake Carmen. So also with our campaign, we really want to see one Mesa. We want to collaborate with all the organizations and really bring us all together. I really found my home here at Mesa, and that's what I want for every single student here, no matter what walk of life they come from. I want to help get them connected so they do feel like they belong here, because every student belongs here. And I think Mesa is great for that because everyone has an opportunity at this campus. So it's just about getting those freshmen involved and helping them become what they can here on this campus. So when we collaborate with all the organizations, we'll be able to connect them with certain people. Thank you. Okay, next we're going to start with Benish for this question. Hypothetical question: in order to make this area more attractive, the community approaches the university to tear down some of the older apartment buildings close to campus. Would you support the initiative? I think it would definitely depend on what students want. I think one of the most attractive things about here at Mesa that brings in a lot of students is how it's a lot cheaper than a lot of other universities. If this would raise the price of dorms as it is required for students to live on campus their first and second year, I think I would probably discourage that. I would use my resources in order to try and keep that from happening as long as it's what the students wanted, so that we could keep the lower kind of cheaper income housing for the students here, so that that's something that can still stay attractive for the Mesa community.
So as president of ASG, it would be my job to speak for the students, not my job to voice only my opinion, but also yours. So with that being said, my opinion weighs on my decisions as well, but it weighs no more on my decisions as yours does, because just like you guys, I'm a student here, and just like you guys, I understand that there are things that affect people differently, and without talking to other students on campus, without learning about everything that's gonna go into taking down those dorms, like Casey said, if it's going to raise prices of students living on campus, then we need to work together to figure out what's best for our students, not what's best for the administration right now, but it's what's for our students, because administration wants what's best for you, and we are your liaison from students to administration.
And can I just get a clarification from the moderators? Are we talking about a residence hall here on campus or buildings close to campus?
I believe that we were talking off campus.
Off-campus housing,
Yes.
alrighty. So as student body president here at Mesa, I think these ladies have it exactly right. We're representing the student voice here on campus. Our opinions play a role for sure, but overall it comes down to the students. I think if a large portion of students are living in those housings and that's going to displace them, then I think it's our job to go to the community and figure out what's going to replace that housing option, or if we're going to be simply taking that away from students completely. As such, though, I understand that that's not completely my power within telling the Grand Junction community how their community is. We're a part of this community, so we can encourage as a leader in the community to do certain works. But I think we can work together to find ways to make it more appealing, or ways to just renovate and spruce that up. One of my main initiatives is to bring more pride in the Valley for having this institution here and us being in this Valley. So I think if we can help spruce up the area around campus, and that's one of the initiatives that the Grand Junction community has, then that's something that we as students can fully, and I as student body president, would fully be able to support should that be the voice of the students as well.
Ms. Archer and Ms. Benish, I believe there's a bit of a miscommunication with the question, so if you would like to add 30 seconds to clarify, I can ask the question again. Would you like that, Deb? Okay. So the question was, hypothetical question, in order to make this area more attractive, the community approaches the university to tear down some of the older apartment buildings close to campus, so we're not talking about on campus. Would you support the initiative?
So talking again about this question, I think it would really depend on what they wanted to replace that with. I think if they're approaching the school, maybe it could be something that could help out our school, so possibly more buildings for students or even housing for students. So we might have that option just to talk with the community and see.
So once again, what everybody is saying, that it's about you guys, it's about the Mav, and that's what we're all about. So learning about what's going to go on off of our campus is a really big deal, because if they're tearing down apartments off campus that are kind of close to campus, that kind of cuts back on students that do need to or want to live off campus and want to be close to school. So anything that we can do to better your experience here at Mesa is what we want to do. And whether that be for aesthetics, making the college look better, or for more dorms and getting you to where you need to be, that's what we're gonna do.
All right, so this question is going to be to start with Archer. Historically, the communication between the executive and legislative branches in ASG has been disjointed. How do you plan to rectify this?
So with my administration, what I'm going to do is really hold everyone accountable for what they are doing. I'm going to ask every senator and every single executive board member to write a report every month talking about what they are doing, what they have done, because that shows you, the students, that your student leaders are doing something and stepping in the right direction. And that also gives them a log of what they have been doing. And we can go back and look at things that worked and that haven't worked, and we can change those things because we have that information. And I think that building a strong community right away when we first start from the first meeting is key to making sure that ASG is run as a whole and there is no disconnection. And with working at the outdoor program, I have also been given the opportunity to work with multiple different orgs and clubs on campus. So I have the skills that are needed in order to facilitate that communication from the executive board to the legislative branch.
All right, that's a great question. I think that's something that a lot of students don't recognize. Formerly being the Senate leader in ASG and then leaving and looking at from the outside, there's a lot of issues within ASG that stem from the fact that there is no clear, definitive executive branch, legislative branch, and judicial branch. Everyone kind of shows up on a Wednesday night and they're all there together. That's great. It's encouraging community, as Ms. Archer said, but we also are not directly working as executives. So I think actually separating that more and actually reorganizing and revamping ASG. It's going to be work. It's going to be reading through the Constitution, which Ben and I have actually done, and I'd venture to say we were maybe the first ones to read that cover to cover because there are a lot of issues within that document. There's a lot of issues that need to be helped within ASG structure-wise, and I think if we separate executives so they can rather work with the rest of campus on policy, and then encourage the legislative to have their own voice and their own power with only the vice president there rather than the president telling the Senate what to do, because that's not their role. Thank you.
I actually disagree with what the presidential candidate just said. Actually, I think really having a collaborative group within the three branches is going to be really important, especially for a biennial year. We definitely need to be connected in order, because the biennial process works through all three branches, and a lot of the senators actually sit in on that FAC process, and as the executive branch, you kind of help decide where you want to move the campus to. So it's really important to have that good relationship between the three branches and be able to work together. I would have open communication, definitely sit in on meetings with all the different branches each week just to make sure that we are working towards the same goal, creating one Mesa, because separating them would not be able to create a collaborative group.
Mr. Dillinger, I'm going to give you 30 seconds for a rebuttal.
Thank you. I understand that we do need a community, and that's exactly what I'm trying to encourage here. So with that, though, there is a structure within government. The executive branch has their duties and their powers, and the legislative branch has their powers as well. For example, one of the biggest issues that we're having right now that I would say ASG has is at an executive or at a legislative meeting with the Senate, you have executives chiming in and giving their word when they truly don't have a voice on the Senate floor. There's actually one time that this president should be addressing the Senate directly, and that could be a State of the Union, similar to how we see the real United States government working.
Ms. Benish, I'll give you one more statement if you would like for 30 seconds.
I agree with them not having a say during the legislative meetings, but it is important for the legislation and the executive branch to be able to be a community, be able to be together, and be working towards the same goals.
All right, we will move on to the next question, starting with Ms. Benish again. There has been talk of reforming the organizational structure of ASG due to lack of direction. What changes would you like to see within the organization, especially with it being the biennial year?
With it being the biennial year, actually, Director of Finance Fatchett, who just exited, he actually started reprocessing the whole FAC process, which I think is really important. I sat on the biennial last year, and there's definitely a lot of changes that could be made to make it more efficient. So we're actually separating it into 2 separate meetings. We actually had a 14-hour-long meeting last year in which we were here until 4 a.m. working to make sure that it was everything that the students needed. And so we have 2 separate meetings now so that we can make that more efficient and be able to get the students what they want and what they need.
Can you read the question again?
I'll repeat the question. There's been talk of reforming the organizational structure of ASG to lack of direction. What changes would you like to see within the organization, especially with it being the biennial year?
So like Casey said, our Director of Finance this year has been working on editing and making those bylaws better so that they better suit our growing population. And with the biennial next year, it's super important that you guys get out there and vote, whether that be for me or any of the other candidates, because we are literally playing with your student fees. This is your money. And I think that next year when I am if I am president of ASG, we will promote accountability, which gives our Senate and everybody in our Senate the objective to be reliable, to do something, to get out there and be more than what we are, be more than just sitting in that room for 2 hours or however long we're sitting there for.
All right, I mentioned in the last answer about being issues going in as simple as senators not representing the correct seats, with their major being representative of who they're actually representing here on campus. Stuff as simple as that doesn't give every campus or every school across campus the voice that they deserve. So simple fixes like that can be huge. FAC as well, they're an organization that we allow representatives from a board who were not elected to voice student opinion to be a major part in choosing the board. And actually, I've sat in on the last biennial as well. I'm on FAC now, and I voted no for these changes. What it's doing is it's locking in a certain time throughout next year. It's Fridays at 3. I don't know how many of you guys wouldn't want to be in a meeting on Friday at 3, but that's going to limit the number of students who are there. And right now, one of the biggest issues is if we keep giving power to a select few throughout ASG, and I think that's something that we need to fix across the board.
Okay, this next question is going to start with Archer and then Dillinger and then Benish. Do you have any other time commitments, and how do you plan to balance those with the office you are running for? If so, how will you prevent your leadership role or rules from suffering?
So I think I should give you a little background on myself. Currently, I'm the Director of Marketing for the Outdoor Program and the Director of Communications for the Student Government, and I hold 18 credit hours. So scheduling, doing those kinds of things, I am all over the place right now, and I absolutely love it. I love being busy. That's my job. I love coming out to school and seeing you guys every day. Mesa is my home. So next year, actually, I'm going to have a way lighter credit load to compensate for the fact that I will be the president of the, or if I am the president of the student government. And I plan on dedicating all of my time to this position because I believe that you guys are worth my time. I don't think that putting myself in another position per se as the Director of Marketing for the Outdoor Program again would be a good decision because that is taking away time from you guys, and next year is the biennial, so it is really important that we do everything we can to make sure that your voice is heard through that process.
Alrighty, so currently I'm the director of Mavs. I've been in that position for 2 years now. I've seen amazing growth through that, and I'm ready to hand that on to someone who has as much vision as I did for that organization when he's coming in. So we're looking at hiring the new Mavs director, so I won't have that on my plate. I am an ambassador here on campus, so I work on recruiting the future Mavericks here on campus. I think that is a great time commitment, while it is a lot of tours and a lot of extra work here and there. I do not see that conflicting. I've held the position of Mavs director, which I can compare to the position of student body president as far as the workload goes. And I would venture to say that I've handled that very well with my time commitments and seen amazing growth. And I've actually shown that I have the ability to do stuff on this campus. So time commitments for next year, other than being an education major, so obviously my classes are why I'm here, and an ambassador, my time would be fully committed to serving the students, listening to students, and being a resource for them to make this the university that they want to see, and also to see what I can do to make this place better for everyone.
So ASG would definitely be my #1 priority. I've seen from the past 2 years how much time this does take and how much work this is, especially during a biennial year. I don't know if the other candidates can say with the other organizations that they're working for that this would be their #1 and only priority for next year, which is huge with it being the biennial. Not to say that they haven't done great jobs with the outdoor program and with Mav rides. They've done amazing work. I think it takes a bunch of different leaders in order for Mesa to be able to run and be efficient. But I think for the leadership role, for ASG especially, you need someone who's credible, who's dependable, and who's willing to not give up when times get tough. So when things get tough, I'm going to double down. I'm going to be here, and I'm going to make sure that everything happens efficiently. I'm not going to walk out when things get tough, and especially when people are counting on me and when I have such an important role.
I'll allow a 30-second rebuttal, one 30-second rebuttal from each of the candidates.
So as I said earlier in this evening, and I think Ms. Benish just alluded to that as well, I was a part of the Senate last year. I was Senate leader. I chose to leave Senate because of Mav rides. I saw an organization that needed help, and I was that director as well. So I took and stepped down from that. As such, we've seen 100% growth in that organization. We've seen amazing growth through that organization because of the leadership role that I chose to devote my time to. I think that shows that I do have the ability to look at where my time is going and devote it directly to what is the most important. And for me, that would be student government, and then ambassadors would definitely be a part of that as it pays for my schooling.
All right, so like I said, next year I will actually only be doing ASG if I am elected president. This is my main priority. Like I said, you guys are worth my time. You're worth so much more than that, and I want to make sure that through the biennial process that your voice is heard. That is so important to me. And time commitments aside, schoolwork and everything like that, I can balance those things. I've been doing it all year this year with working with the two of the biggest orgs on campus and going to school.
Ms. Benish, I'll allow a 30-second closing if you would like one.
I think we each get a close.
Oh, yeah, I was just to this line if you wanted it. Okay. All right.
All right, so to finish things off, we're going to start with Dillinger, and then we'll go to Benish, and then Archer. Just what are your closing statements?
All right, I think I've demonstrated that I have a vast knowledge of this institution and what we do here at CMU. I've shown that all I've done while I'm here has been for this institution to make it a better place for all of us. So I believe that through my initiatives with creating Mavericks and other leaders across campus, through my initiative of creating pride through the community within Grand Junction and for this school, and then also as a health and safety, I've shown that I'm a leader within the safety for the past 2 years on this campus. While I know that some in ASG would criticize my initiatives last year within ASG and leaving, and they might question that. Like I say, I left because I saw an organization that had the potential to grow, and I did that. And now I'm ready to take the next step and grow this university just as I've grown Mav rides throughout the past 2 years. So I encourage you guys at the very least to get involved next week and vote on Wednesday. And I thank you for coming out and supporting all your candidates this afternoon.
First of all, as Josh said, thank you guys all for coming out. This is the largest crowd we've actually had for debates, so that's really awesome. I think that just shows how we're growing as a campus, so I think that's really cool. So as I said, I'm Casey Benish, and I'm running for president with Jake Carmen. He's running for vice president. we're really looking at just collaborating, as I said, all the organizations to be able to create one Mesa, find a home for each and every student, which I think is really important, especially with our growing institution. So just Mav up and vote. Carmen and Benish next week, Wednesday. You know, it's a W.
So like they've both said, we thank you all for coming out here. I'm running with Ethan Kishi, and I just want to let you guys know that I have been working to this point my entire career here at Mesa. I didn't know that I wanted to be the president until someone told me that I have the initiative to do it, and I fell in love with the idea that I could make a difference on our campus for you guys. So our campaign is about education and experience. We want to give you guys the education that you deserve so that you can make educated decisions based on what you know. And we want to give you an experience like no other college or university can. We want to give you a home. We want to make you proud to be a Mav. So please come out and vote for us next week. And Mav up.
So I'd like you guys to give a round of applause to your 2016-2017 ASG presidential candidates. Thank you, guys.